Oh, what's going on, guys? It's Taicowhites here, back from the absurdly long hiatus that we have been on here at Team Cardfighters United, to bring you a new deck profile. We actually, a lot of things have changed since the last time you've been around. So basically, now Zio, one of our other members, has moved down to the same city that I'm in, and we have 2 to 4 other friends that have started playing a lot of Vanguard with us. So we're going to actually start having a lot more deck profiles and actual in-person card fights for you guys. So this is the first of many videos that I'm planning on putting out. We're going to try to keep an upload schedule of twice a week. And we are going to mainly be focusing on V Premium. So if any of that sounds interesting and you are new here, just drop a subscription down below and let us know if there's anything you want to see. We'll go ahead and get into this deck profile. So as you can see, today we're going to be looking at the nubatama deck, Hanzo. Now, Hanzo is a really, really fun deck. He got support in the clan selection, Volume 1 and 2, that we got right at the very end of V-Series being standard. And that was when V-Series actually got really good, in my opinion, because it was a little funky for a while. But after that set, V-Series has been looking really good. And then we just recently got Clan Collection, because obviously they couldn't just keep the same name. That'd be too easy. Volume 1 and 2. So we actually, between me and 3 or 4 of my other friends, have built every single deck to come out of that set. So he will be sure to let you guys in on plenty of deck profiles for that. So let's go ahead and get into this one. So obviously, you're going to be running 4 of your main grade 3 Hanzo. And the entire focus of this deck is these little boys right here. The evil decoy tokens. So basically, if you don't know, they're just grade 0s with 0 power. That instead of boost have intercept, and they can intercept from the back row. They don't seem like much, but they are pretty important with a lot of the deck's combos and help with guard power. So basically what Hanzo does is he just kills 2 of those grade 0 rear guards, and then you can bounce any number of cards from the board and give Hanzo 20k. This includes your opponent's units, and if you do bounce any of your opponent's units, and they're on grade 3, they actually have to pick that many cards from their hand and discard them. So it's like a weird combination of making them drop extra guard to make it easier for you to hit them, while also doing some funky board control. Because the best thing about that is, whereas you can only in retire decks get rid of what they hand you on the board, when you make them put stuff in their hands and make your opponent decide, especially if it's a stressful part of the game, maybe it's really close, they can end up making the wrong decision on what to keep. So that is a really cool factor to play into that. So obviously we're running 4 of that, and it is really good. I prefer this nubatama starter. No, that doesn't matter, but he is such a friend. Right now, for the next thing, we have 4 copies of the other grade 3 Hanzo that did come out in the clan selection, not collection. And what he does is he has 2 skills. One of them is from hand, and basically just whenever your opponent starts their turn, if your Vanguard is the other Hanzo, so not this one, you drop 2 cards, ride him, and every one of your rear guards gets +5 shield. So if you have a board full of these dudes right here, then all of a sudden you have up to 5 10k interceptors, which is just really, really nice. And then at the end of the turn, you re-ride the other Hanzo, putting him into your soul, which means that the 2 protect markers that you're getting are making up for the 2 cards he dropped, on top of the fact that now he's in your soul, which is necessary for his second ability. So his second ability, what he's going to do is you're going to retire one of those grade 0s to call him to rear guard and give him 20k, just like the first Hanzo, because you have those big 32k numbers, so that you don't care much about force decks, because force Vanguards are so annoying. But then it also gives him the ability to attack from the back row. This also is not any sort of like hard once per turn skill, so if somehow you end up with 3 of these in your soul, and you have 3 evil decoy tokens, then you can get these 3 bad boys out in your back row, ready to swing for 32k apiece for basically free. Because at the end of the turn, they're actually going to stick themselves back into the soul and get you your evil decoy token back. So it's awesome because they can't like rear guard hate them or pop them for retires and get rid of them unless they can somehow they come up with cards that let them mess around with your soul. You're just having a great time. So obviously, you definitely are going to be running for that. It is so important. Your last grade 3, which this might be somewhere that people might disagree with me on, but I like running 2 Mizukaze. And what he does is he has an on-play Soul Blast, a grade 3 skill, and then at the end of the turn, anytime your opponent would call grades that he or she has already called from hand to guardian, that turn they can't. So like say you swing with them with their front or rear guard, and they drop a grade 1, then you swing with your other front or rear guard, and they try to drop a grade 1 again, they can't. They have to drop a grade 0 at that point. So basically the weird thing about that is technically if you end up with 5 swings because you get like 2 of your Hanzos in the back row, then one of those swings is unguardable because there's only, for the most part, 4 grades. Most decks can't even guard with one of those 4 grades. So if you have 5 swings, then most likely 2 of them are going to be unblockable, which is really, really nice. Protect, however, does count as its own grade. And the last time I checked, maybe I was told wrong, but I'm 95% sure Protect is its own grade. So if you're fighting a Protect deck, keep that in mind. But either way, really good card. Will end games if used correctly. Now, onto the grade 2s. Here's one of the pretty important ones, especially in the early game. We have Zangetsu. He has an Axe skill, which is good. That means you can keep reusing him. Of counterblast 1 on Vanguard or Rear Guard, make an evil decoy. So this is one of the first things to actually create these tokens. Not replace them, but create them. And what he's going to do is he's going to make 1, give all of the evil decoys plus 5, and then give them the ability to boost. So now all these grade 0s sitting in your back row will actually have some sort of purpose on your turn besides just being retire fodder or something like that. But this card is really good because you do like the ability to give some boost to these guys and just to counterblast 1, make 1 is always going to be nice. Because this deck, if you notice, from all of our grade 3s, there were no counterblasts between any of them. So that means there's a lot more room for counterblasts in our grade 1s and 2s. And speaking of those counterblasts, now we have 4 of, boy that I can't pronounce. I think it's, Yamashibuki. I want to call him, like, Yamafubuki or something like that. I think there's a different card that sounds similar to that I'm thinking of that's not in this deck. But what he does is during your turn, he gets 5 for each of your grade 0 rear guards, which is really nice because you're usually going to have anywhere from 2 to 4 of them, depending on what stage of the game you're at. So that just makes him a really nice beater. And the secondary skill in Vanguard Rear Guard, when he attacks, you can CB1, pick one of your rear guards, return to hand, and call 2 evil decoys. The good thing about that is, say you just got your homie chilling over here, you pop him back to your hand so the opponent can't mess with him, and then you call an extra 2 tokens wherever you want them, and then that's more fodder for your Hanzo next turn, that's more fodder for your in-soul Hanzos. It's just really nice extra guard because then you have a whole extra one of those boys that you don't mind getting rid of. It's all in all probably one of the best cards in the deck. Now our last grade 2, it doesn't see as much play as the other 2. They're just kind of here. Is Genkai. What Genkai does is he gives himself and all tokens 5k if there's a token unit, which is nice. Then these other skills on place, you pick something and give it boost, and if you do, if you choose something else besides himself, you soul charge 1, which is really nice because you can like offhand soul charge an extra grade 3, whether that's being like another one of the Hanzos that you need in soul to call, or just a grade 3 to soul blast for Mizukaze. Either way, really nice. There's probably something better to put in there. Last time I checked, that was the best thing to run. Leave a comment down below if you have a better grade 2 option, and I can either discuss it with you or just tell you that you're probably right. All right, now that we're on to grade 1s, this is a really, really good card. It's a Kage Sarahashi. So he has an axe skill of retire it, call 2 evil decoys, which is already good, and then if it couldn't get better, you can search your deck for a Hanzo if you put a card from hand to soul. You can search your deck for a Hanzo if you have a Vanguard with Hanzo, and then add it to your hand. That is a hard once per turn, so you're not going to be able to like just spam the crap out of that if you got a couple in your hand. But either way, it is really nice because it helps you go and grab those other Hanzos. Because remember, you don't have to do anything funky to put them in soul, as long as you just have them in your hand. You can use them at the start of the opponent's turn, and then they'll go to soul naturally when the rewrites happen. Second to last grade 1, we have this homie, Kurogiri. No, not from My Hero. This has another axe skill of just soul blast 2, pop him back to your hand, make 2 evil decoys. So he's really just there to basically change Hanzo's skill to just soul blast 2. Because basically you just have him, you call him soul blast 2, make your 2 evil decoys with him back in hand, and then Hanzo's probably just going to kill them for his 20k and his bounce skill. So it's just making stuff happen. And then obviously 3 grade 3 searchers, which are a lot easier to get now that clan selection's out. Like, just a lot of grade 3 searchers are stupid cheap now. And now that we're done with the main stuff in the deck, we're just going to go on to our triggers. I'm running 4. draw PGs and 4 regular draws. I like the regular draws just because you can A, get extra pieces that you need, possibly some of those grade 3s or token generators, and B, these are grade 0s that you don't mind dropping down because they're really not doing much for you in your hand. They're just like a 5k. So you don't mind calling this if necessary and killing it with your Vanguard because you're not dropping a whole 15k trigger or something to that effect and getting rid of it. So those are pretty nice for that. Then we just have the crits because we're running 4 of them. And obviously now that we're in the clan collection, we have these grade 3 Heal Guardians. If you do not know what these do yet, because I know they did just come out, they have 2 really good abilities. One is whenever you call in a Guardian from your hand, if you have not ridden a grade 3 or greater this fight, you can pick one of either giving your Vanguard 10k till the end of turn, or picking one of your opponent's units, and it gets -2 crit until the end of that battle. Both of them are really good. They've really slowed down V-Series, which is really good because a lot of people's complaints for it, there was a little bit too much aggro. So V is in a really good place right now. The other skill, obviously, is whenever you call it a rear guard, if you have no damage, it'll take the top card of your deck and put it in your damage zone. So also preventing damage denial. So these cards are insanely important. They're a little tiny bit pricey because every single deck wants 4 of them. So there is that. But all in all, I'm so glad that Bushy decided to print those because they've just made V so much better. And all right, that is pretty much it for this deck profile. If you like what you saw here and would like to see some more, let me know down below. We are going to be doing a fight with this and another deck that one of my friends, who I'll introduce you to in the next video, is going to be playing. And I actually just sold this deck, so I won't be playing it anymore. But for future reference, any decks that you see as deck profile, just let us know if there's a specific matchup you want us to see it in. And if we have those cards available or I can get them soon, we'll make sure to let you guys see that matchup. All right, so remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.